Welcome back to Phoenix, Arizona, the Motorcraft Ford Nationals. You may have noticed Don Beverly getting a little loose in that far lane. Well, this track has been tricky. You never know which lane is the better. Don Garlitz, how do you see the track conditions right now?
Well, Steve, I think the track was real good. I think what happened was that Warren Johnson engine that they put in Don Beverly's car had just a little bit too much mid-range for the way his chassis was set up, and it looked like he just couldn't handle it down through the middle of the track.
All right, Top Fuel will be coming up next. In fact, you see them coming into the lanes right now. The car you're looking at, that is Pat Austin, Tacoma, Washington. Let's remember, he had a tremendous rookie season last year, winning in Topeka, winning the Winston finals. He's one tough kid. There you see Pat pacing around. He has already won the alcohol funny car title just moments ago before we went on the air. And you talk about a story. Here is young Doug Herbert, a former Californian, now in North Carolina. He unofficially became the quickest driver in the world at Pomona 3 weeks ago at 4.88 seconds. Some said, that's just a flash in the pan. Not so. You see Herbert coming in here for the final round. And earlier, I had a chance to talk to both of these keyed up drivers. Here's what they had to say. Doug, you're in tough, buddy. Pat Austin is plenty mean. How are you going to handle this race? What are you going to have to do?
Well, I don't know what to say. We got a quicker car than he does, but he seems to be a little bit more consistent, so we're going to have to get after it a little bit. I think we can do it.
Doug Herbert has a fast car. He's proven that. How do you approach this race with a first-time finalist like him?
You approach it just like that. He has a fast car, and he's a good driver, and Doug's been on a hot streak. If you watch his car's Pomona, he's right there, and his car is really running good. They slowed down a little bit that time, but we ain't even looking at that. We're looking past that, and he's going to run a 4-second run, and that's exactly how we're going to approach it.
Well, I don't have to tell you about Pat Austin's racing record. Comes from a great racing family. Has already won 5 Top Fuel races, and he only started at the end of last season in 1981. He bought the team from the late Gary Ormsby, won 2 races. He holds 44 career victories in Top Alcohol Funny Car, and already has a couple of victories in Top Fuel. So the kid is just unbelievable at 28 years old, Steve Evans. I think he may be on to something here in this drag racing career. I'll tell you, who's to know how many races he can win if he stays with it?
Oh, absolutely. He's also the official national record holder. His opponent on the other side, Doug Herbert, well, he may be the new wonderkind in Top Fuel. We told you about how well he ran in Pomona. He's a big, good-looking kid. Every girl I run into wants to know if Doug Herbert is married. I'm not sure if he is or not. You see the crew strapping him down, that 5-point harness. He can't get it tight enough. In case of an upset, well, that roll cage and that harness, they're your very best friends. Herbert has been through so many engine explosions, so much grief with this car, I don't think anything scares him. Behind him, you see, in the Herbert shirt, that is Jim Brissett, one of the true veterans of Top Fuel racing. Nobody knows more about these engines and these racetracks than that man right there, Jim Brissett.
Well, of course, Doug also comes from a great drag racing family. His dad, Chet Herbert, is a great camshaft designer, and I'm sure Big Daddy has been around the Herbert family for a long, long time. Don?
Well, I'll tell you, these 2 drivers are definitely cool. I talked to each one of them just a few minutes ago. I couldn't believe they're both as cool as a glass of iced tea. They are up to this race.
Okay, let's go to Steve Evans.
Well, the one big advantage I see here does not lie with that long red car. It lies with Pat Austin. His reaction times are simply unbelievable. That's how he won the alcohol division today. That's how he's won so many races in this car. He is cat-like quick. That top gun in his helmet, that's what that means, reaction time.
Well, you certainly can't fault him for experience. As I say, that's his dad, Walt Austin, who has built the engines for this car. And Chet Herbert, he owns that automobile. As you said earlier, Jim Brissett may be the key to making that car go so well. He had a whole bunch of problems last year, his first year in Top Fuel competition, as is Pat. So both these guys are sophomores in Top Fuel competition, Steve.
Interesting, Brock. They're both in the lane that they like. Pat Austin had the lane choice over Herbert. Austin has selected the lane you see him in right now, the near lane, all day long. Herbert is like that 4 lane all day long, so nobody's unhappy with this.
So the burnouts are complete. Let's go down to Big Daddy for some final thoughts.
Well, both of the drivers, Brock, executed perfect burnouts, just the kind they've been making all day long. No funny deals. Both of them are in the lane they like. As Steve said earlier, I just couldn't see of a better day. The air is really nice on the starting line. These engines are making some horsepower. Brock?
One more question, Big Daddy. We going to see a run into 4s between one of these guys?
Yes, sir. I believe we will see a 4-second run here this evening.
Okay, that's it, Steve. In the near lane, you're seeing Pat Austin in the far lane. That is Doug Herbert. Let's go to Steve Evans for the race call.
How much horsepower are you looking at? Well, about 5,000 apiece, 10,000 collective horsepower. When they put the hammer down on these automobiles, those people on the starting line will actually feel the ground quake. Here, and there is Jim Brissett's wife. This is a ritual with her, with all the teams I've been with all over the years. She wears that big crucifix, gets down on one knee, and hey, you know, do all you can do. Sometimes it takes that sort of tradition to win these drag races. Doug Herbert, he knows that Pat Austin is a leader. Doug Herbert will be sharper here right now than maybe he's ever been. Well, he better be. Herbert moves up, puts a little pressure on Austin. Lights that free stage beam on the Christmas tree. You see the yellow lights, Herbert? That tells Austin he's ready to race. Austin moves in, doesn't hold him up at all. Who will break first? It is going to be Austin moving in, allowing Herbert to stage last. Still not quite in. Now they're set. Oh, and it is Pat Austin all the way as Doug Herbert breaks right off of the starting line. A 5.06 elapsed time. You can hear the crowd cheering the young team from Tacoma, Washington. Austin is your champion. Doug Herbert, well, a real tragedy for him right off of the starting line. Brock?
A really tough break. We were expecting a great drag race, but what so often happens, we have a little mechanical problem here, and it is Pat Austin. It's a great launch. He'll run a 5.06. Excellent reaction time, a 4.35. There you see in the far lane, Doug Herbert breaks, and Pat Austin on his way to his second victory of the day. Let's go to Big Daddy Don Garlitz.
Well, Walt Austin, I take my hat off to you. You didn't hop it up. You didn't do anything funny. You just made your nice, normal run, and that's what it took.
Well, Don, you know that probably better than any of us. And sometimes you've got to control yourself and look at what it's really going to take to win the race. And I'm really proud of my crew. I mean, Dana and Mike and Dickie and Brad and all the guys, they're really professionals, and it's showing.
Well, you did a nice job.
Okay, Big Daddy, and now let's go to Steve Evans with the winner.
Yeah, two-time winner today. First alcohol funny car, and now the pro category of Top Fuel. I thought maybe you had a 4-second run in it. Not quite.
Well, not quite, but you just got to do what it takes to win, and that's what we did. I'm sure the guys would have liked it to run a little better, but obviously they planned to run a 5.06, and that's what it did. So as long as you get there first, and with the help of the sponsors, Castro, Oldsmobile, Red Wing Shoes, and Dynomax, we're going to the top, baby.
You probably read this track better than anybody today. You always knew which was the best lane, and you selected it throughout the competition.
Yeah, I think that comes with the experience of the guys. You know, my dad and the guys work together, and they've been working together real well, and I think it's shown our performance. And being a new team, I think it's very important to go out and do good earlier, or things can fall apart, and we're doing good so far.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, thank you.
So Kenny Bernstein won round 1 in Pomona. Now Pat Austin knocks him out in round 2. Brock?
Okay, Steve, we've got more racing coming up. That is Rhonda Hartman, the sister of Richard Hartman, who will be competing in the Funny Car Finals coming up against Tom Hoover. We'll be right back. Tom Hoover already in his race car. So stick around. Don't touch those remotes. We know where you live.